Good afternoon, Detroit. I am Rufus. I should say good afternoon to everyone everywhere. You are now experiencing another edition of Talking To. I am your host, Rufus Beal, and we have the lovely Joanne Tosin Fuller. Good afternoon, Joanne.
Good afternoon, Rufus. How you
How are
doing
you today?
today?
I'm
I'm
doing
great.
well. You're looking great.
Awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So, how was your Sunday going today?
It pretty good. Just doing things around the house, and now that the weather's kind of breaking, doing some
Uh,
things outside and trying to get my yard and my garden together.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's a slow process, but coming along well.
Oh yes, yes. I love working outside.
So I was outside today earlier and I was looking at the space that should have flowers in it. And I just kept looking. I bought the flowers, but they're not in the space. And the more I looked at that space, I said, because I haven't even begun to turn the dirt over or I did spray to get the weeds out, but that's
Okay.
as close as I've gotten to putting my hands and actually transferring the flowers from the store, the little cubes they come in into the ground. So maybe I'll get lucky this week and do that.
Yeah, well, you have time. I really don't do a lot of planting until
Uh,
after the holiday because in Michigan, we have crazy weather. It could
that
be we
we
can
do.
have all three seasons in one day sometimes, seems like. So I usually don't plant until after the holiday. So the end of May is usually when I actually
Is
put
it
things in the ground.
really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
wait. Even though we have beautiful weather, like now I'm just really cleaning out, positioning pots and that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
So you've encouraged me that I just need to keep
You're not
watering my
late. You're not
flowers.
late.
I'm not late.
No,
I
no,
don't
not
want
at
to be
all.
late.
Not at all.
So tell me, what has been going on that you've noticed during this weekend as we just talk about some current events that pop into your head?
Ooh, look, you know what? I'm one who I try not to watch the news so much.
Okay.
But this week, because of all the changes, especially with, the vaccines and COVID and
Yes.
wearing a mask and not wearing a mask, and some states are doing this, and it's just been, I've been trying to keep up on things.
Okay.
And so, it's been a lot, especially with this mask wearing thing.
Yes, it has.
Ooh, it's confusing.
So we know that next week we're going to have an expert on our expert guest to talk about COVID-19 and certain things that's going on and with updates. But this week we're going to just kind of talk about how we can just manage our way through COVID, especially since with the CDC giving the all thumbs up of removing the mask this week. I believe it was Thursday that the governor said that she felt comfortable enough and that we could take the mask away. And I know that that is going to be the primary topic that we deal with today and how people want to move forward. And we want to encourage all of our listeners to engage with us. You can, if you have any questions or if you have any comments, just chat with us and we'll see your comments and we'll put them up and we'll discuss them too, between Joanne and I, and of course you, our listener.
Yes,
So,
yes.
what was the first thing that you thought about, Joanne, when you heard about the removing of the mask?
I thought, oh boy, here we go. We're going to have some craziness going on now. We're going to have some, oh my goodness. Because, I watched one lady as she was talking, she made a lot of sense.
Hmm.
If you're in a store, I know one of the stores, Walmart, is not requiring mask anymore
No.
for the
Okay.
people who shop, for their employees and all of that. But if the safety net is that you have been vaccinated
Hmm.
and you're around people who have been vaccinated, that's supposed to be your safety net. That's how I
Right.
put it, your safety net. So, but if you're around all these people, you don't know who they are. How do you regulate and how do you know who's been vaccinated and who hasn't? Are you really going to ask them? If you
Hmm.
ask them, are they going to tell the truth? And so that's one thing that this lady brought up this week. And I thought that was very interesting, but no one really had a good answer for that for
Hmm.
her. And I'm thinking this is going to be crazy. I think we're going to see something like in the beginning where we had to wear the mask and people didn't want to.
Right.
I think we're going to digress back to that because some stores are requiring, some businesses are requiring, some businesses are not requiring. And
Hmm.
so when someone walks in your business and you require, how are you going to handle that? And then are you afraid of the people, the retaliation of the people who don't want to? So I just have this feeling we're going to digress to, last year in March, April, May, of people
Right.
just being crazy with this.
Well, you said something very, very key. And the question was, do you ask of someone, have they been vaccinated? And, we've probably within our friends and our own circle, we've asked someone, have you had your shot yet? But really, that's a personal question. And that's a medical question that is drowned in privacy. I'm sure HIPAA would not approve of that particular behavior. So I don't even know if we should even ask, although that we might be curious to know. Uh,
Right.
some, have you had your shot?
Right. Right. That is a private question. That is
It
a
is.
question. Even to decide to get them, because there's still people who are deciding not to do it, still not to do it right now. And my feeling is if you decide not to, you decide to. That's your personal decision.
It
And
is.
that, I tell people, pray about it.
Mhm.
And that is your decision. So I'm not going to condemn you if you don't. I'm not going to condemn you if you do.
Right.
I've had mine, but I'm not going to condemn anyone for their personal decision about doing this. All I
Exactly.
tell people is, do your research, do your own research, because what I'm finding out is people are listening to everybody else instead
Hmm.
of making their own decision, instead of doing their own research. So, no, I'm not. That is a personal question.
Yes,
That's
it is.
and like I carry my card in my
Your
wallet all
card
the
carrying
time.
member.
'Cause I can't wait till they open up the borders, and if I have to show my card to get to Canada, shoot, I'm gonna show my card and say yes, I am, and here it is. So that's just me personally.
Mm. Well, as you said, praying about it and the research are very important. It's two key steps because so many times we are influenced by friends and by family members, and we just go along just to go along. And then a lot of times we have uh, uh, re, re, kickbacks or from just following and not
Yes,
being leaders in our
yes,
own quest for finding out what's the best for us. Because I'm
right,
sure if a lot of people had researched the Johnson vaccine, they would have known the various uh, things that you had to be like at a certain age limit with no conditions in terms of underlying diabetes or high blood pressure. It was pretty much designed for people in their 20s and 30s. And a
okay,
lot of people didn't know that because they didn't research it. And they might have been
right,
trusting the name Johnson and Johnson because it's a familiar brand. And they just went along with it, not knowing they didn't, by not doing their due diligence. A lot of people were affected by the results of having that particular vaccine.
right, right.
So, and once again, that you're listening to Talking to Joanne Tosin Fuller, and I'm Rufus Bill. Justin is working today with the Detroit's finest in
Yes.
blue, keeping our city safe and clean and all of that good stuff. And but you're definitely able to chat with us, and we'll be more than happy to have conversations with you via the chat. So just you see right on the bottom of your screen it says post a comment. Just put it right in there, and we'll be able to see it and talk about it. So right now we're talking about the removing of the mask. Now, prior to the pandemic, Joanne, I was always funny about people standing behind me so close.
Always.
always.
And I think, and I might get bashed for this, but I think that's a cultural thing too.
It could be. It could very well be. Why
Because
you so
I
close
think
to
that
me?
we are, we have our space. And
Yes.
some people and growing up with other cultures also,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
how sometimes they're just on each other and close, and even when they're talking. And so I'm the same way. It's like, okay, even like you said before the pandemic, it's like, okay, there's this imaginary box here that you got to stay on that side of the box.
You are too close.
So I understand exactly what you're saying. I do.
I remember when I was in school, I went to Adelphian, and I had a roommate who only wanted to speak like this. And I was, I said, can you just back up a little? And it didn't matter if I tried to back up, they would, lean in and have a conversation like that. Of course, we weren't from the same culture. So I was always thinking, okay, you are way too close, Rick Burner.
You have to say the name, didn't you?
Wait, that just that slipped out. And that what they said, that slipped out. That came out before I could catch it. But yes,
Oh my goodness.
so I was in line at a restaurant this week. Now the floor is clearly marked, and this was prior to the governor saying that we could remove the mask. And so I'm on my feet space on the floor, and then the other person is in between my designated area and the next designated area where she was supposed to be. And so she's right here, like right here. And so I'm looking at the order board, and I go in like this, and then she goes in, and then she comes in close, not real close. You had that
Too close
before.
for you.
I said, "Madam, please." But then she realized, she said, "Oh, I am so sorry." And she apologized, and she was very friendly about it. But I was very uncomfortable. And I can't say that it was because of COVID. I was just very uncomfortable. You are so close, like just milli moments away from me feeling your breath.
I truly understand. And you both had on your mask?
Yeah, yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes, we
Okay.
did have on our masks.
So that's one positive.
That was the only positive. Because even after she apologized, she still engaged in conversation like this.
Mm,
So I just
wow.
kind of slid over and just told her to have a nice day. I'm going to wait outside. But here lies in how we should react to that. And because if we have had a bad day, or maybe we just got off the phone with someone that we received some bad news, how should we be on guard that you think, Joanne, with our behavior?
You know what? I think that, and my theory is, and this is just my theory in my life, period,
Mhm.
is that we don't know what other people are going through. We really
Yeah.
don't. We don't know what kind of day they've had. We don't know. So I don't, even when somebody cuts me off in traffic, or somebody, I'm not saying that stuff doesn't get to me or it doesn't bother me, but I don't react all the time to the
To their
stuff.
action. Okay.
You're right. I don't always react. Okay, you know what? Well, bless you. Well, hope you have a good day. Hope that was worth it for you. That's how I. And like I said, it doesn't. It's not that it doesn't get to me, but I think that, say, if I had someone that came into my business and I wanted them to wear masks because I don't know,
Hmm.
I. Well, I know my clients too. They're cooperative,
Okay.
and that's just the type of people they are. But if you have a store where there are people that you don't know that are just in and out, or
Hmm.
whatever kind of business that you have, that you have people just that come in off the street, that just walk in, um and people have a bad day, that's hard. That is
It
so
is.
hard. That's
It is.
ooh. How do you answer that? I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
I just think that, okay, that everybody needs to stay calm and be and think about the other person also.
Hmm.
I think that's what we're lacking in our society today, is that everything is about me, 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 and
All the time.
everyone has become so self-centered that we don't think about how anything we do affects anybody else.
So
And
here we are. We should reflect to the golden rule. What is that? Do unto others
as you would
as we
have
wish
them
to
do unto
do
you.
unto you.
So I need to treat you like I want you to treat me. But then if I don't love myself, if I don't care about myself, you know
How
what
could
I'm
you care about
saying?
others?
Right. So it's that's and that's why for me, I have to stay prayed up. I know I do. Because I know I can go there.
Okay.
I know I can. And so
Okay.
because I know that, but I have somebody that'll fight for me. And that's
If
the
you let them.
Lord. Hey, I try to stay, I really do. I try to stay prayed up. And just like you said, it's the golden rule. Do unto
It
others
really
as you would
is.
have them do unto you.
So we have reverted back to a lesson taught as children in
Yes.
terms of the golden rule. One of the actions and behaviors that I see very common now is in the driving, and there's a game
Yeah.
called Chicken, and I believe the point of the game is to not let the opponent or the other driver get in front of you. And so what we see now many times is or our drivers who pull up on the other side of us and go around us from the turn lane. Have you noticed that?
I've noticed that. And even on the freeways, how people are just. I was driving the other day and there was a person in the fast lane
Hmm.
driving and wanted to get off an exit. And from the fast lane, so, that's 3 lanes over,
Yes,
cut in front of a car that was next to me, my car, but it almost hit the car in the center lane, almost hit just to get off at this exit. And you know how easy it is in Detroit. You can go to the next exit, come back and get.
exactly. And just
But I've been seeing
backtrack.
that so much lately. It's crazy. I've been seeing that a lot lately. Hey, I want to get off, or I want to. Hey,
And they just do. And
and
they
they
just
just do.
and then they react that way, very irrational. And that may be some of the behaviors that we may see when we are out and about with people or interacting with people that don't have their mask on.
Right,
And
right,
I would have assumed, I know New York is really going to kick it off into high gear to see how the law enforcement will be reacting to that, or how they plan on being ahead of the curve in terms of making sure that the citizens are safe and are not being bombarded with a lot of violence, physical violence, because a lot of people are gun carriers.
yes, yes.
And although that you go through an extensive training before you can get your license, that training does not include coming or being in a pandemic. At all.
At all, at all.
And it's usually just for semi-normal situations that you may incur,
Right, right,
that they teach when you're going to get your license to carry a gun. And I don't know if people are going to be so quick to resolve situations with that 45.
right, right.
You
But we
know,
see it now, how people are just so quick to jump to the gun. We say
mhm.
jump the gun, but jump to the gun instead of, you know, okay, I'm not here for that, or okay, walking away. But everybody is so confrontational now, it seems like
They
that.
are.
I'm gonna stand my ground, you stand your ground, and we gonna and then we don't fight like we used to, because the first thing is, you draw a gun or a knife versus,
Right.
fighting with your fists or words. And you see it, I mean, just even some of the things that I see on social media in restaurants, like one restaurant, I think it was a Starbucks, and the lady
Uh-huh.
came in without her mask, and the server, I admonished the server so much because they kept their calm. But she was saying, ma'am, we cannot serve you. You cannot be in here if you don't have on a mask.
Okay.
And she was just going off. This lady was just, I mean, and even the people that were in line behind her was like, ma'am, if you're not going to be served, you need to. She was just, then she started cursing. Then she started telling them, if Black Lives Matter. And I mean, it
I'm
was just,
done.
it was crazy. It was just because the person said, I'm sorry, I can't serve you because you don't have on a mask. I'm sorry you cannot be in this store because you. It was just crazy. It's sad. And I wonder if we show people themselves,
You're right. You're right.
if we showed her a clip back of that, and she had kids with her,
Oh, did she?
little kids. And that's, to me, what kind of example is that?
Mhm.
So if we showed a clip back of how you acted and reacted,
I'm,
I mean,
I'm sure
would they even care? Would they care? I
you
don't
you
know.
know what? They probably wouldn't care until they saw it, because when what we see of ourselves are completely different than what other people see.
Right. I know what I would like for other people to see in me,
Hmm.
so I try to emulate that all the time, but I do really, sometimes I want to know what people see, how they truly see me.
Right.
I do. So if something like that and you show that to me, I think I would be devastated.
Definitely.
I would be devastated.
And especially if they got it caught on camera.
And they have cameras everywhere now.
Everywhere.
Every phone, the street cameras, the business cameras, the everything.
They're everywhere. Just this week, a couple of days ago, I was somewhere, and I was distracted. And when I turned and looked to a mirror, and I didn't realize that that was a mirror. I looked and I jumped at myself, and I said, "Oh wow!" And just what I saw, I said, "Oh wow!" And I wasn't cutting up that day, but just the mere fact of seeing a reflection of me just just made me think about, wow. So if you see yourself
Yeah.
cutting up and acting up, that would be a wow moment, and because we times are
We
very
hope we
sensitive.
we hope it will be a wow moment.
Right. We hope it would be like, oh yeah, that's me.
We hope it would be like, oh my goodness, I'll be ready to go back and apologize and everything.
And
But we hope
everything.
it would be a wow moment, or a changing moment for some
Or
of
at least
us.
a change moment, definitely.
Changing moment. Yeah.
So if you're
Yeah.
just tuning in, it's Talking To. I am Rufus Bill and Joanne Tosin Fuller. And we're having a conversation today regarding the removal of the mask per Governor Whitmer. And one day it was that if you were outside with 100 people or less, you could take off your mask. And then maybe 2 days later, she announced that you could take off your mask if you are associated with people who have been vaccinated. And then now it's they're saying that we don't even need them at all. And we would love to get your thoughts on it. Go right into our chat and post your thoughts or your questions or your comments so that we can discuss it today on Talking To. And we're so glad that you're joining us today. Next week, we will be speaking with an expert about COVID-19 and what we're doing now since the vaccine is being administered, and what are people are doing to enhance or to get back to a certain quality of life. So it's Talking To. We're waiting to hear from you. So Joanne, have you been to any restaurants? Have you tried to get back into the stream of things that way? No.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. I mean, of course, I've ordered out and all of that, but I haven't even been back to the gym. I'm outside now that the weather's getting better. I'm back outside and
Okay.
everything, but I don't know if I want to say I'm nervous, but I guess I am a little nervous. I'm gonna
Mhm.
wait and see. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait and see. I am.
Okay.
I
That's
am.
only fair. I know that although that we are able to, the customer, we're able to come in and enter the establishment without a mask. The servers still have to have their mask on. Um, I'm a little
Hmm.
not on edge about it, but I'm curious to know what are the procedures that the servers have to do regarding their masks. Are they required to wash them every day? Are they being checked? Are they, or is the restaurant providing new masks for every shift? Because I would think that would be something would be in the back of of someone's head as they're looking at giving them their order. Is that mask clean?
Clean. Yes. Because you know what? Even like, and I'm gonna go back before COVID. I'm one of those who looks at, some restaurants they have to wear the aprons. And
Yes.
so I'm one of those. If that apron is nasty and dirty, it's like, do I want this person serving me? So
Serving
I was
you.
one of those
Me too.
who, you know, and and when it's really white or ivory, you really see.
You
And
see
so it's
everything.
like, okay, you couldn't have washed that, or you don't have a change out just to,
Hmm.
so mask and all of that is hopefully they're providing their staff with some of the masks, or if not, hopefully the people are, because that's their protection, hopefully they're getting
Yes,
their own masks, because now that you can get them anywhere and everywhere,
exactly.
and they're not as expensive as they were in the beginning, but
Hmm.
hopefully that they realize that that's also their protection, because they don't know all these people that are coming in off the
No, they
street.
don't.
So that helps them also. It helps protect them also. So I'm hoping they're conscious of that. I'm
And and
hoping.
as a business owner, you have to think of the psyche of the customer. So if my customer feels that, or if I'm thinking for my customer, or as a customer, I would like to know that these masks are new every day. So
Right.
because it just will relax the diner. It'll make for a better dining experience because you just don't want to sit there and just think, are they really doing what they should do in terms of making sure that everyone is safe? You know,
Right.
as you would go into the restroom in a restaurant, they would have a chart last time clean.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes I think some people were lying, but nonetheless, it was there. And so you can look and say, okay, well, they're attempting to do that there with the work and making sure that the bathrooms are sanitized and clean for all of the occupants. And I think maybe they should move into that vein as restaurant owners to have a some type of display board. Say this is what our servers are required to do per rest by the restaurant to
Right.
ensure that we're being safe, so that everyone can kind of relax a little,
A little bit. A
a
little
little.
bit. Because even I was watching this week Fauci. Fauci was saying, to some of these states, don't relax. Don't get too relaxed.
Right.
Not yet. Because we have all the variants that are going on. We don't know how the variants, even if you've been vaccinated, how the variants are going to act with certain people.
Hmm.
So the vaccines, thank God, are to help us not ever get COVID, but it's to help us so that we don't die from COVID,
Die from
hopefully, or get
COVID.
too sick from COVID.
Yes.
So just like the flu, the vaccine doesn't prevent us from getting cold or the flu, but it helps it so that it's not so severe. And just like they have different strains of the flu, now we're hearing they have different strains of COVID-19
Hmm.
now. So I think we have to stay on our toes. And that's what he
Hmm.
was telling people too, and trying to tell the states. Don't get too relaxed yet, y'all. Please don't get too relaxed. And so I didn't think that Whitmer, but I know a lot of it is politics also.
Of course.
And I didn't think that Whitmer would open. I heard, and this was a few weeks ago, that she would not kind of open like she's trying to open um, until the Michigan was like, was it 70% vaccinated or
Vaccinated.
something? And I think we're only at, if I remember right, is it
I was
45%,
going to say it's not even
50%?
at 50.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
So I'm on the side of what Fauci said is don't get too relaxed yet,
Don't get too
everybody.
relaxed. And
Don't.
a lot of times, well, I knew in the past year, the high areas in the state were up north because they just maybe they were in denial or just didn't feel that it really would affect them. But as the weather warms here in the Michigan, people like to go up north.
Yes. And that's what they were
And
afraid about.
yeah,
Hmm.
and so that's a concern that a lot of people should have with going up north. Those numbers in certain areas that you're going where maybe you're camping or maybe you're in a cabin or something like that or by the lake. Those areas where it has people really haven't adhered to the rules and the regulations from the CDC or the government.
Right.
So
Right.
here again, this is something to be cautious about, especially the holiday weekend is coming up. I think in 2 weeks,
Yes. Yes. And
and
we saw
everybody,
what happened after the last holiday.
right?
And we saw what happened after spring break.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Despite.
Oh my goodness. So that's I think is what I think that's what they're watching and
Mhm.
what they should be watching, especially after this coming, holiday. What's going to happen in June,
Exactly.
after people are barbecuing and
Hmm.
partying
And
and
partying. And
mhm,
when you bring different variants into the party, people become more relaxed.
more relaxed.
Yes, and not
Yes.
thinking of what they're doing or safety violations or issues that they should concern themselves with. Just like the
Yes.
what is Dave Rexworth, the Channel 7 weatherman, who had
Yes.
done stories about fireworks and he understood about safety, and he still relaxed himself, which and it changed
Yes.
his life forever. So we have
Yeah.
to be cautious of that. And
Very much so.
so moving forward, and I know that you do decorations and you do event planning. Have you mapped out anything, or have you jotted down any notes that you're going to pass on to your clients on how you would have them to present a public event that you might be doing?
Well, it's still, to me, that's still up in the air. And
Okay.
finding that some venues are opening where, you're going to have 100, 200 people, where some venues are like, no, we're staying at, 50 to 100. Or
Okay.
just had a client that told me last week that the venue she wanted, they decided they're not opening up at all yet. So
Hmm.
I think it's gonna be, my thing is you still want your guests to be safe.
Yes.
You still want that. You still want so you might want 100 people. You might want 200, 300 people at your event. But is that really a good idea right now?
Hmm.
And so just it's just to think about others also. Especially like you said, we have people that have um pre-existing conditions. You have the elderly, you have, and so in pre-existing conditions that could be young or old.
Yes, it can.
So it's just, we just have to think about others. We have to think about others, and whatever event it is, still stay on it, whether it's a baby shower, whether it's a bridal shower, a wedding event, whatever,
Mhm.
birthday parties. We still have to be cautious and be um, conscious of the people that we invite and the area that we're in, how close
Okay.
it is, if it's outside, if it's, all of that. So that's what I'm telling people. Just still be cautious and
Mhm.
still think about others, the other people.
I had a conversation with some friends, and they were talking about getting together for the holiday. And I asked them, I said, how, what are your suggestions on serving the food? I said, now, in an ideal world, you would have servers and have people to or bring it to your table, but everyone may not want to entertain that way. And so, I even thought of that of we, some of the things that we discussed with everything being wrapped. So for like
Yes,
salads, if you have a cooler, wrap each type of salad individually, but place it in the cooler, and then you would be forced as the host to distribute
yes.
the various menu items.
And I did
Just
an event like that not too long ago. It
did
was a
you?
small event and I had everything wrapped, from the
Okay.
sandwiches to the cookies to the everything was individually wrapped. So nobody could touch anything else. And that's a good point too.
Hmm.
Because even if you have buffet style, if you have the line and people are not serving, if you have the
Okay.
line and then everybody's touching oh,
Oh,
Oh, I have an issue with that at buffet restaurants. Everybody want to
already.
touch everything already. So now this. So yeah. So I just did a small event like that where I had everything wrapped
Hmm.
individually. And so you don't have to, like you said, you can do fruit cups. And we've had um open houses and all of that where the wing beans were already in their container, the fruit was
Okay.
already in a cup and it was wrapped, so all you have to do is grab whatever you wanted.
Hmm.
And so that's an excellent idea, even with parties, is too. I know it takes a little more time,
Yes, it does.
but it's just a little safer too,
Hmm.
a lot safer, not a little safer, but it's a lot safer.
But I can reflect in a time when mothers would pack lunches for school, and you would get your lunch out or see someone else's lunch. Everything was wrapped. The cookies were in the little a baggie. The sandwich was in the baggie. And for some who went to the extreme, even the fruit would be in
Wrapped
a
up.
wrapped. And you were the only one pretty much touching that bag anyway. But
Right.
but that has had been a way of keeping the food safe for the consume, for the consumptor, I should say,
Right.
and keep the germs off of the food items.
Right.
So
Right.
a lot of things that we will be doing to keep practice safety will be things that have already been um, instituted at some place, form, and time in our lives, or in just general practice, especially
Yes.
for older adults.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
because it would be nothing to see someone making sure you'd hear someone say, "Make sure you wash that fruit," or wash your hands before eating.
Right.
Just those little simple things will help um, keeping that spread of the virus and other
Other
things,
diseases, right.
diseases from
Just
spreading.
cleanliness, right.
Hmm.
Sanitation. Yeah. So I mean we really have to, people are saying, oh, I want to get back to the norm. I there we can't go back to the norm.
No.
I think from now on it's going to be a new norm. We're developing a new norm now.
Hmm.
And so we have to accept that a change has come.
Yes, it has.
And we have to accept and deal with that change that has come. So
Adjust
do I want to
accordingly.
get back to the old normal? No, not
No,
really. No.
not standing behind you and touching the tongues at the buffet. No. But I
No.
was doing research about when we were just speaking earlier about the various strands of this virus. Did you know that SARS? I don't know. Do you remember maybe 10 years ago it was an outbreak? That is a form of the coronavirus.
Yes, yes.
I just learned that this maybe over the past 2 weeks, and and it's something how that these diseases or these different strands have been around, and really no one has really finger pointed that this is what it is. They gave it another name of SARS, and people were trying to make sure that if you heard somebody coughing excessively, but no one really talked about how highly contagious that
Yes.
that form was, and I guess trying to not cause uh, uh, a hysteria in the country, but there probably have been many types of diseases that fall under that umbrella of the
Right.
coronavirus. And so,
Right.
whenever a lot of concerns of citizens when the vaccine came out, they said, well, how could they have possibly just come up with a vaccine this quick, not
Mm-hmm.
knowing that they have been testing and been doing this for years
Years.
and trying to alleviate the spread of this of a particular strand. But as this latest strand came out that really had affected so many people, there was work already in process for
Yes.
a vaccine.
Well, they said they knew that something was coming down the road.
Hmm.
And so that's why President Obama put in place the pandemic team, because
Yes.
they knew something was coming down the road. And so um, that to me shows you that they were, and it has been just doing some research and talking to some medical people,
Hmm.
that a vaccine was being worked on in other countries already. So what we think has been this quick thing that they just all of a sudden, ooh, we just throwing this, I'm mixing stuff together and we just throwing all this stuff together right quick. That's not true.
No, not at
It's
all.
not truth. So just doing that research and understanding and talking to people and like, oh, okay. So they've been working on vaccines. They knew that something was coming down the pipeline. Exactly what? I don't know if they knew that or not. Who knows? We don't know everything in the government. They're not going to tell us
Right.
everything they know
It's hush
anyway.
hush.
But they say that is one of the reasons that President Obama put that pandemic team into place, because they knew something was coming down the pipe.
Anderson Cooper pulled a clip from President Obama in his first term toward the end when he talked about these unknown diseases and how that the the Republicans, and he called them out specifically, needed to release these monies to help in case of a pandemic. And it was just in how they rejected it so. But it was interesting for them to pull that particular clip, as you said, that he already had been advised of this possibility of this occurring, and how it if they had done what they should have done at that time, maybe the outcome would not have been as horrific as it is.
Right, right.
But they
And
say,
that's why, a lot of people blame Trump, because they said, if he hadn't first he took the pandemic, well, he was trying to get rid of everything that President Obama had done anyway.
yeah,
So we know that that's one. And so, but he dismantled the whole pandemic team. And so maybe, like you said, maybe if they were on top of it,
hmm,
that it would not have gotten as bad, maybe, as as it
yeah,
has gotten worldwide. This is crazy.
definitely. And especially,
Yeah.
it literally just shut down the world,
The world,
the
not just the
world,
United States, but the world.
but the
Isn't that
world.
something?
It
You know, you,
is.
you we read about these things in history, or we've seen movies about, like the Spanish flu and all these pandemics and polio, and all these pandemics that
Exactly.
happened way back when. But who would have ever thought that we would be in our time dealing
Never.
with this? But thank
Never.
God for the scientists, the medical people. Thank God
Hmm.
for the knowledge that He has given people to help us out with this. You
Definitely.
know, I thank God for that. You know,
I
and
do
that we
too.
have progressed so much since what was that pandemic in 1918? I think it was
Hmm.
that, and you know that we progress
From that point,
from that point to now.
which is not a long time ago.
Not really.
When you right when you look in terms of technology and information to prevent it,
Yes,
or
yes,
in the medical field.
yes.
Um, Fortunately, that people are still are going to school and learning about different diseases and how to stop the spread of diseases. Sometimes when I hear someone say, well, they've gone to school to become a journalist and all of the work that they put into that to become that, then you hear someone saying, well, they're going to and go to school to become a um, what is it, molecule something engineer scientist, and you think, well, what
Oh,
am I doing
molecular
over here?
scientist, a
Yes,
molecular scientist.
yes. And
Yes.
you think, well, what am I doing? And compared to what they're doing.
But
But
you know
it
what?
takes
It takes all of us to run
all
this
of us,
world. It
all
takes
of us.
all of us. So I don't. Hey, you got that? You got the molecular scientist
Right.
brain. I'm so happy for
Go
you.
for
Go for it.
it.
Yep, help us out. Whatever. For real, it takes all of us to run this world.
Yes, it
It
does.
does, and I'm
Because
glad that we
I
all
am
are the
too.
same and all trying to do the same thing.
If
I'm
we would be
happy.
in trouble. I know if they were depending on me, I'm doing well to turn on the computer. You're listening to and watching Talking to. We're live on Facebook and Facebook Live. Joanne Tosin Fuller, Justin Hearn, who is working today, and many of you may remember when Justin, alerted us and he, let us know that he is a police officer in the city of Detroit, and he cannot always be with us because his job is very demanding. And so that's where he is. And I am Rufus Beal. And in case you have not noticed, or in case you have noticed, and you said, wow, they've come up. Yes, we have. We come up. The song said, what a difference a day makes, but what a
Hallelujah.
difference a week has made. And we would like to thank Mr. Al Rogers, who is
Yes.
responsible for all of this, for the smoothness of our broadcast today, and for the all of the graphics and putting us on the map and doing what we were trying to do all along.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you so much, Al. And we can give you some more information in case if you're thinking about doing a broadcast or videos, or if you have a business and you want to put together maybe something for corporate, or to telling about your business. The Al is the person that you would like to connect with. We're going to have some information for you on how to connect with him, so how he can enhance foot traffic to your business and put you in the area where you need to be, so that you can be relevant in 2021. And so,
Yes.
not that we weren't relevant, Joanne, last week. We were, but we're ready for the fight.
But you know what, that's what life is, and I love it because as you move forward, as you grow, as you learn,
Mhm.
things should change.
They
And
should.
it's okay. Change is okay, especially when it's for the better.
Yes,
So
sir.
yes, yes, yes. A
I,
change has come.
a change has come, a welcome change. I was speaking to Alan. I said something about. I said, yeah. I said when I saw some of those videos that I was trying to produce together, I just kind of shook my head. And after a certain point, I just laughed. And he was so encouraging. He said, Rufus, well, as it progresses, it gets better.
That's
I said,
right.
thank you, Al.
But Rufus, but you've been on the radio, so you've been unseen. This is and because of the pandemic, this is what a lot of this has come to. A
Yeah.
lot of information, the live streaming and all of that. But you've been on the radio for years, and
Hmm.
so you were used to that aspect, and now you're just
Exactly.
moving to a different realm of doing the same thing.
Right.
So yeah, so hey, and you have to learn your the new realm now,
That's
and that's
right.
what
You
you're
do.
doing, and it's okay. It is okay.
And I was okay with the okay. I definitely was, or definitely am. So it's talking to Joanne Tosin Fuller, and I'm Rufus Beal. And as you get used to the new setup, you can become comfortable with just chatting with us. You can go into the chat comment, type in whatever it is, question or comment that you may have, and just join into the conversation. Well, we want to remind everyone that next week that we're going to have our expert on. We're going to continue our talk about COVID-19 and surviving in COVID-19, and what how we should fashion ourselves moving forward.
And maybe even
Joanne?
if they can let us know too how they have been coping,
Yes.
how they're now with some of the new openings, some of the new laws and everything that are going on, how they're going to cope, especially people who have children, some
Hmm.
of the businesses now, some people are going back to work. Some people are not going to go back to work.
That's right.
I was talking to a client this week, and, her job is now they're kind of, maybe June or something like that, that they'll be going
Mhm.
back into the office. Well, she's like, I don't ever need to go back into the office.
Right. Exactly.
I'm straight at home. So, maybe the people can share with us how they're coping and what, because some people are people person, you
Hmm.
know, they like to be around people. So being at home for some, this was hard for some people.
Oh, definitely.
This was definitely hard working from home. You're by yourself, or if you're not by, you're home, you have your children and all of that. So maybe they could share with us how they have been coping, and then with maybe schools opening up again, how they feel about all of that.
Hmm.
Maybe going back into the office and or going back to work. And I mean, just speaking of work, it's like everywhere I drive now,
Everywhere.
hiring,
Hiring.
hiring, now hiring. Come on in, walk in,
Walk in.
walk in. I'm telling you, I'm like, oh my goodness. If people are looking for a job,
They can find
there
one.
is no excuse.
None. None.
No excuse. So, but yeah, so maybe people can share with us some of their stories, some of their experiences, some of their fears moving forward,
Hmm.
or some people are maybe excited about this moving forward. Hopefully that we're coming out of. I hope and pray. Yeah.
I have a couple of piano students, and so one of the things that I taught them, and I would tell their parents, I said, I don't know how orthodox this is under the guidelines of music, but I never would show them what to do with their fingers. I always would talk to them, and I taught them how to discover middle C, how to place their fingers. And so someone asked me, they said, "Well, how are you still doing piano lessons?" And because with COVID and having to be so close to the students, and I told them, I said, "Well, I'm not even close to them. I can sit on via the computer, or if I'm in the same room with them, I can sit across the room and still tell them what they need to do, because that was just a teaching method that I instituted prior to the pandemic, of just pretty much use your own fingers and to discover what you should do, where the note placement, finger placements are. So when you speak about jobs and working during COVID, uh, everything has changed.
Everything.
Everything has changed.
Hmm.
Well,
I know
Joanne,
one thing that has changed probably is that
what?
when these children go back to school, these parents are going to be like, you better get back in that school and you better do what you're supposed to do.
You better.
Because you know what? And just talking to people, and I laugh because, we do know our children, but now, or some of us know our children, but now that they have been out and have been underfoot,
Yes.
and I think parents have an appreciation for teachers.
Yes, they
I
do.
really do. And I
Yes,
think they
they do.
probably understand why teachers should be getting paid at least double
More.
what they're getting paid right
Exactly.
now. At least
Exactly.
double.
You,
So
right. So to the State Board of Education, you gotta have to up that up. The Federation of Teachers.
I
I'm
think
sure you're gonna have
parents,
to
yes.
represent your community better and getting more money for those teachers. Because I
Yes.
know if I had little children around here, I would probably move.
How you gonna move and leave the kids there? Where you going?
Just like I teach piano.
Then
I
your address would really be different because then you'd be in jail. You have a totally different address for real. You say you
oh
gonna
man.
move.
Well, I I hope the state is not looking and said, well, maybe we better check in to see what is really going
Just let
on.
them know you have no children. No children. I'm
I have
just
no
talking, y'all. I have
children.
no children up in here.
Zero. I don't want y'all don't want none of this, and I don't want none of you. Well, Joanne, as always, it's been a sheer delight. We have been able to come and inform people and converse together and talk about some of the current things that people are talking about.
Yes, yes. It's been a joy. It
It
has
definitely has.
on our new platform.
On our new platform. Thank you again, Al Rogers. So we'll be with you all on next week where we'll have our expert and we'll talk a little more about COVID. And prepare your questions now so that next week you can just put them into our chat. We can have a great conversation. So join us next Sunday, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Joanne?
Yes, yes. I look forward to hearing from everyone. I really do. Just get your questions, get your concerns, just share some stuff with us. Just share it. Talk
Definitely.
to us. Talk to
Definitely.
us. That's why we're called Talking To. We
Talking
want you to
to
talk to us.
you
Yes.
all the time. So join us next
Yes.
week. Joanne, you have a great evening.
You too, Rufus.
And
It's
thank you
been
once
great.
again, Al Rogers. We appreciate your expertise in making this
Yeah.
broadcast what it is. So everyone have a
Yes.
great evening.
Yes. Peace.